Up Sports Geeks. We're back with another live stream today with another NFL mock draft today, joined by Alec yet again. Alec, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready to mock draft though. We're just gonna hop right into it. We are not here with 2 rounds this week. Next week is gonna be the 2 rounds, but we are the two rounds is coming. But this week we do have. I'm sure it will be plenty spicy. There will be trades. I'm going to take the odd picks. You have the even picks. And I'll keep it nice and simple off the start. Caleb Williams, despite the common talk with his pink fingernails and his,
I'm a fan. Who cares? As long as he plays well, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but their Twitter's pretty funny with everybody overreacting to it. But no, like you said, who cares? He's going to be a great quarterback. I do think the Bears situation, maybe other than the Vikings, is the best situation to go into, other than of teams that are going to be taking quarterbacks. The Bears offense is going to be good. I mean, you're looking at they go and get Keenan Allen, you have DJ Moore, you still have pick number 9, which commonly we have them going to Dunze with. Caleb Williams is going to be put into a good situation. DeAndre Swift, you add him there. So I think he's put into a pretty good situation. I think the Vikings still would probably be a little bit better with Hawkinson, Addison, Jefferson, and Aaron Jones now. But still, I think this is a pretty good situation for him here. Over to you at 2. I'm assuming you're going quarterback here, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the Drake May hate has gone, I think, a little too far. I'm going Drake May here. He would be the number 1 pick in a majority of other first rounds in probably the past 5 years. Drake May is a great prospect. So yes. I'm going Drake May here.
Yeah, well, and I think also, if Drake May was in the draft last year, I think he probably goes first overall.
Yeah, just think about what Drake May is. He has every intangible that you would want. He can make every throw. He's huge. He's 6'4". He could probably get up to 235, 240. He's fast. He's agile. He can escape sacks. He's basically everything that you want on paper. And just because the production dipped a little bit when all of his NFL weapons left, I don't see that as big of a red flag as some people think it is.
Well, I also think that if you look at the 2 quarterbacks in the past that have had a really good year and then have, lost pieces around them and then had a worse year and then gone to the draft, I think of Jordan Love and Josh Allen, right? And both of those guys have worked out well, right? Yep. And so I think last year he actually had pieces around him to distribute the ball to. This year he did not. I'm not counting Tez Walker as Tez Walker got locked up in the Senior Bowl. It was also clear he is.
And also if you as we've seen in the past, Josh Allen's stats in college were not good. Right. You don't draft people on production in college. You draft on traits. And right. Drake May has every trait that you would want. Arguably more traits than I don't know if you're going to pick him at 3, but more than Jaden Daniels just because of his size.
Yes. Well, no, and I think that's part of it too, is that Jaden Daniels, all of the concerns that Lamar Jackson had out of Louisville, I think Jaden Daniels would raise those same concerns out of LSU here, right? He's thin. He's really mobile. I don't want to say relied on his legs, but he kind of did in college, right? His pocket passing, was good. But the other thing that you have to look at too is if you put Drake May on that LSU team, he comfortably wins the Heisman as well.
Yes.
You have 2 first-round wide receivers here.
You also have to think Drake May, and I was reading a report on this. They didn't say what team it was, but we know it was Alabama. Bama offered him over $5 million in NIL money to go play at Bama, and he said no. So I'm not faulting him for staying in North Carolina. As we know, his brother played at North Carolina. He wanted to finish his career at North Carolina. I think he projects well in the NFL. I think he'll be a good NFL quarterback. Commanders take him at 2.
Yep. No, I'm completely with you there. I am going to go Daniels here at 3. I think that McCarthy's getting a lot of hype at 2, and I don't think it will happen. I saw, Bucky Brooks today. I was watching his mock draft today. He had Drake May falling to 11 to the Vikings. He had McCarthy going here at 3 to the Patriots. He said if you took your best quarterback ever was a Michigan quarterback, And now you have a quarterback who was better at Michigan than Tom Brady was. Yeah, Tom Brady was like a fluke of a situation, right? That's not going to happen again. Where you're going to, you don't just draft a prospect because of the school he went to. You draft him because of the traits that he has, right? And just because he went to the same school as Tom Brady does not mean that he's going to be Tom Brady. Michigan hasn't produced another quarterback since Tom Brady, so let's not just overreact like that. But I still think McCarthy's going to be a top 5 pick. But I'm going Daniels here. He's got really good mobility, got good arm strength. I think this is a terrible situation to go into. You're looking at Juju Smith-Schuster, who hasn't been good since he was making TikToks with the Steelers. You have Kendrick Bourne, maybe, right? Like this is just not a good situation at all to be in for a quarterback. I think, and out of the 4 quarterbacks that could be taken here early, all of them are pretty much praying that they are not with the Patriots here, I would say.
Yep. And I think teams that could move up, we know the Vikings really want to move up.
Mm-hmm.
Another dark horse to move up would be the Raiders.
Yeah.
But, if you're the Commanders or Patriots here, I don't think you can afford to not draft one of the big 3, in my opinion, just because if you're Washington, you're just traded away Sam Howell. And then the Patriots just signed Jacoby Brissett. Really wouldn't be that bad as a bridge guy, but you kind of want to get your, the ship, steered on the right track after Belichick leaves.
Right.
So 4 here, this is tough because I could see the Cardinals trading back easily.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they do.
Yeah.
I think they trade back with Minnesota. You get the 2 ones that Minnesota has this year. It might take another one. It might. I'm not sure. Yeah. But let's just say that's the scenario right here. Because realistically, they're getting their guy. So I think they would make that trade. Is it working? There we go.
There. Okay. It wasn't working for a second, but there we go.
Yeah. So just take McCarthy here. We've been talking about it. All reports are they love him. So it seems like a slam dunk. Also, Chargers would be stoked to get Marv or Neighbors. I think Neighbors could go over Marv.
Yes.
But I want to see who you pick here.
Yeah, no, I'm going Marv, and I that's just my personal rankings. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Neighbors goes higher because of just the overall hype that he's getting right now. Today at his pro day runs a 42-inch vertical with a 4.34 40. That is stupid. I think Harrison not testing is going to hurt him in the long run. Just choosing not to. I think you're comparing Malik Neighbors, who had a freakishly good pro day, to nothing from Marv, right? They're 2 different receivers too. I think that it's just different. Each team's gonna have a better fit, right? Maybe for the Giants, they feel like Neighbors is the better fit for them. Maybe for the Chargers, they feel like Marv's the better fit for them. I think it depends. If it's the Cardinals at 4, I think Marv's is the best fit. But honestly, I think the Chargers and a guy like Neighbors with Herbert, I think would be really, really good. Herbert's arm slots, ability to get the ball out quickly is really, really good. Obviously, he can let it fly with Neighbors, just burning people deep too. So I like this pick here with Harrison, but it's Neighbors.
It's a hell of a landing spot for fantasy. I know we're not talking about fantasy right now. It is a hell of a landing spot. And talk about I'm at the next pick. Talk about not a hell of a landing spot for fantasy. Malik Neighbors at 6. No, this is not good.
No, I would. This is one where it's like, if you had a team at 6, like just anybody else,
I could also and this is also a spot where Giants are kind of in a weird spot here. I could see them trading back. I could see somebody wanting to trade up for a Neighbors or even a Joe Alt here if somebody really loves them. But Neighbors, his pro day today solidified just all of the underlying metrics that are important in football. Neighbors is better than Marv at them.
Yeah.
Forced missed tackles, all the little stuff that PFF does and then other analytics people do. Neighbors is better at all of it. So realistically, I think Neighbors is really close to Marv. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if we get to the draft and Neighbors goes ahead of him. But any team is stoked to get Neighbors.
Yes. I think it's a situation too where if you trust your quarterback less, I think Neighbors is the best pick because Neighbors is the guy that can catch a a slant and take it to the house, or can take a bubble screen to the house, and can run a route that creates 15 yards of separation. Whereas Marv is a little bit more of like a contested catch guy, right? How can I beat you down the field? Throw me a back shoulder. I'm going to catch it 9 times out of 10, but it has to be a well placed back shoulder. And if it's a 50-50 ball, he's catching it, but it has to be thrown to be a 50-50 ball. So for somebody like the Giants, I don't trust Daniel Jones to give Marvin Harrison good 50-50 jump balls, good back shoulder throws. I can trust him to throw a slant, right? So
Yeah.
I think Malik Neighbors is a perfect fit for them.
Correct. Yeah, I like that.
I think he's going to be a stud. But over to me at 7, this is probably the easiest pick of the draft for me. It's Joe Alt. I think this is, I mean, we've talked about the entire time. The Titans, you need a safe pick. You need somebody that's going to come in for you day one and start, somebody that's going to be a leader in the locker room. It's Joe Alt is exactly what he fits that perfectly. He's going to be an all-pro caliber tackle, and within 2 years, I wouldn't be surprised at all. So I'm hammering Joe Alt there.
Yep, that's an easy one. Yeah, love that. I'm going to make this really easy. We've had this every mock draft that we've done. Dallas Turner here at 8 makes the most sense. They need edge rushers. Arnold Ebikete's not bad there, but they need some more juice off the edge. And Dallas Turner's probably the highest ceiling edge guy in the draft, so I think they take him here.
Yep, I'm with you there. And here again, this is going to be, I think this is very similar to how we've had most drafts going. But Odunze is going to go here at 9, and I like the fit here. I think that obviously you have 1 year left on Keenan Allen's contract. You're getting Keenan Allen for this year. You're probably going to move on from him. Yeah, especially if if Keenan Allen misses games at all, you're for sure going to move on from him, right? Unless he takes something cheap. If he takes something cheap, he probably still wouldn't want to be there. Just given the fact that you have Odunze, you have DJ Moore. Those are 2 younger receivers. Keenan Allen is trending towards the end of his career. I would be surprised at all if they just let him go. Rome Odunze is your 3 this year and your 2 next year. It is a lethal receiving group there in Chicago.
Yep. No, I love that. I absolutely love that. And then, and as you said, Keenan Allen's going to be there for 1 year. So having DJ Moore plus Rome in the upcoming years, I think Keenan being there the first year will help Caleb's development.
Yes.
And help him get used to the NFL level. And then, the other 2 can kind of take over. I like that. I like Olu Fashanu here. I think they go tackle. I don't know which tackle they're going to take. I don't know if it's Fuaga. I don't know if it's J.C. Latham. Don't know if it's Fashanu. I think Fashanu is the best out of those 3, my personal opinion. So I think Fashanu here.
Yeah, I don't mind the pick at all there. I am going to trade again with the Cardinals. The Cardinals trade from 4 back to 11. I don't think they really love the sport here, right? You have Trey McBride, who is your tight end, and he's been great. Not trying to say he's better than Brock Bowers, but you probably don't go draft Brock Bowers. Kind of same situation as the Colts or the Colts, the Bears with Cole Kmet, right? Is you have Cole Kmet, who's been a young, very solid tight end. You're probably not going to go draft, spend a draft pick on a tight end because there's just other needs you can get. I think the Cardinals here just continue to build up on draft picks, and they're going to trade back to 21 with the Miami Dolphins. And the Miami Dolphins are going to give up, I don't know if it's a 21 and a first for 11. I don't know what it would be exactly. We're going to force it through with that. And they're going to be taking Brock Bowers. I think that this Miami offense gets really a scary Miami offense gets really scary really quick when you add Brock Bowers in there. And don't sleep on his run blocking ability. He gives me very George Kittle vibes of somebody that's spectacular in the passing game, spectacular. He's got great hands. He's great after the catch. Somebody could draw up a tight end screen for, but he is on the field at all times. He's not a Travis Kelce that's not going to run block. Like he loves to pancake guys. And I love this pick for the Dolphins here. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a candidate trying to move up to get him if he falls this late.
I love that pick. You made that pick a couple weeks ago. Loved it then. I still love it now. Okay, so 12 here. I'm going Bo Nix. I've seen a lot of smoke on Bo Nix. Sean Payton was asked the other day if it was tough to cut Russell Wilson even with the $85 million dead cap money that was that they have to endure over the next 2 years? His answer was just a no, that it wasn't hard. And I was listening to a podcast, and the person who was talking was kind of right. Some people just don't get along.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson and Sean Payton are polar opposite people.
Right.
That was never going to work when Sean Payton took that job. And he needs like a distributor of the football, kind of like a point guard.
Yeah.
Bo Nix, very efficient in college his last 2 years of just distributing the ball to playmakers.
Mhm.
Really, I think he would have really big upside in an offense like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the stat that I saw the other day. Playoff worthy, or not playoff, interception worthy passes in 2023 for college. I believe Bo Nix had 4 all last season. So not interceptions, but passes
Turnover
that
worthy
were
plays.
turnover worthy plays. Yeah. So that, I mean, if you throw one and it hits your guy in the chest and then bounces up and is an interception, that is not a turnover worthy play. But if you overthrow a guy, it hits the defender in the hands and it falls through his hands, that is a turnover. So kind of you give and get, but essentially a spectacular decision maker, like you were saying, a point guard.
Yeah, it kind of takes it takes the luck out, like the luck of them dropping the ball out of it.
Right. He kind of gives me like a Geno Smith vibe, right? Like somebody that's going to he's going to get the job done. He probably will not be flashy in getting he's probably not going to be a 5-time Pro Bowler, but you can win a Super Bowl with him. And if you're picking here at 12 in desperate need of a quarterback, I think getting a quarterback that you can win a Super Bowl with and you can try to build around. I mean, they just went and got Josh Reynolds today too, right? So like I think that you're trying to build around. I think Bo Nix is a fine pick there. I was going to pick him at 13.
Okay,
just to let you know, I'm still going quarterback at 13.
Yeah. Yep. Do it.
And I'm going
Yes. Do it. Yes.
And,
okay. I was going to do this at 14. Okay. I think that. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
No, I think that this is the fun part. Let's mix it up a little bit. This has been a spot that we've been going pretty much offensive tackle every single time here. And I mean, the Raiders are in desperate need of a quarterback. And, I don't think Aiden O'Connell is the solution. He was just terrible last year. And I think that Antonio Pierce is going to get his guy here. And Michael Penix Jr. is somebody that, the injury history and the medical stuff is what was concerning you with him. Maybe he doesn't throw the ball over the middle as much as you'd like him to. Like he primarily plays outside the hashes, right? But also maybe that's just the receivers that he was dealt with, right? Jalen Polk and Rome Odunze were primarily outside receivers, guys that would beat people outside the hashes. So if you're throwing to guys that are open, which is what Penix did, and they just happen to be outside the hashes, let's not bash on him for not throwing it to a guy that's not open inside the hashes. So I think Penix is somebody that's the arm talent is spectacular. The deep ball accuracy, he's coming into the league. He might be top 5 in deep ball accuracy immediately. This dude can throw a beautiful deep ball. Now, realistically, I don't know how much that'll be used with Vegas, right? I mean, Trey Tucker, Cincinnati legend, might be getting used more.
Devontae. Just boost Devontae a little bit.
Right, Devontae, I mean, it'll help him. I don't know how, especially as he's kind of trending towards being older in his career. I don't know how many times he's going to be, breaking down for 40 yards down the field. But either way, I think Penix is somebody that he can make every throw. He passed all the medical stuff with flying colors at the combine. It's everything that you needed to see from him. I wouldn't be surprised at all, especially if Nix goes at 12. As soon as you see one of those guys left, I think the next guy's going quick because the drop off. I mean, we can go look here. The drop off to the next quarterback is somebody that can't start at all this year, right? Like Joe Milton, freak athlete, he's not a good decision maker, right? Jordan Travis was decent in college, but he's coming off that ACL injury. It's still not going to be a great NFL quarterback, I don't think. So I think as soon as Nix is off the board, Penix is coming up really quickly.
Yep, I think so too. I also could see if they don't go 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there, them falling.
Yes.
So I think this is one of those things where it's like kind of like the Will Levis thing.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't go kind of in this range, I think they're going to fall a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think also kind of the NFL draft does this, kind of repetitively too, is that there's a run on positions commonly, right?
Yep.
Like last year we saw it in like that 10 to 15 range with offensive tackles. And we also saw it in like 21 to 24, right, with wide receivers. When there's like groupings of players, and you have guys that you like, and it goes 1, 2, now there's only 2 left. Teams that maybe are picking at, 17, 18, 19 are like, screw it, we'll give up a 4th rounder to go get to make sure we get somebody. We'll move up 3, 4 picks. So I think this is exactly that same situation, right? Of, okay, there's 5 quarterbacks that are, or 6 quarterbacks that can start an NFL game this year. When there's one of those 6 left, if you need one, you're going. So I like Penix there at 13, but even if it was, Penix was there at 16, I wouldn't be surprised. And Knicks went at 15 or something like that. Somebody's trading up for him. That's what I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yep.
But over to you here at 14.
Awesome. This is an easy one for me. I'm just going J.C. Latham here, tackle from Alabama. They just need good players. They're in cap hell, so I think they just go tackle.
Yep, I like the pick, absolutely. And this is a fit here at 15. Is Quinyon Mitchell. This makes a lot of sense. They love to draft athletes. They drafted Anthony Richardson last year, obviously. This is an elite athlete in Quinyon Mitchell. Locked up people at the Senior Bowl. He had a great combine. A little bit loose with his footwork, but he's freakishly athletic. He's fast enough to guard somebody, like, you're looking at an interdivisional or a divisional game here. He's fast enough to guard Tank Dell, and he's physical enough to guard Nico Collins. That's a combination I think the Colts see and are just drooling over.
Absolutely. I love that pick. And they love the raw athletic, the big raw athletic score guys. So
yes.
Okay. So this one, I'm going to go Latu over Jared Verse here from UCLA. I think if a team doesn't find his medicals as a red flag, he goes higher. I think some teams probably don't even have them on their board because of the medical red flags, but I guarantee that some teams have him very high on their board.
Yeah, this is a player that I think could be in play for Atlanta if he passes their medical stuff. We've been having Dallas Turner go, at 8 every time. If he passes their medical stuff, this dude as a pass rusher is probably on that same level as Dallas Turner. And if that's, if you're looking for a raw pass rusher, I love the pick. I've seen a lot of him fall into like 26, 27. If he falls to 29, I'm praying Detroit takes him. But I love the pick there. At 17, which is what I was hoping to be available here, I'm going to go with a little bit different route here. I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr. And you might have been interested in him for your Bengals at 18 there. But I love the fit here. Wide receivers not listed as a need for the Jaguars, but you just lost Calvin Ridley. And Trevor Lawrence is coming off of his worst year yet, including his rookie season. And you're not going to respond to that. To me, I don't think you respond to that by saying, we're going to take away your best receiver and good luck. I think you respond to that saying, okay, how can we help you? Right? How we drafted you first overall. How can we help you be successful? And I think Brian Thomas Jr. is the exact pick that they do to make that.
I love that pick. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be really good. Kind of makes me worried about Jaden Daniels because his wide receivers were so good in college. Kind of the same argument. I know it's different, but Joe Burrow in college also had Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. But when he's healthy, he's a top 5 QB. So it doesn't mean that you're not going to be good, but I think it will be an uphill battle.
You also have the Mac Jones incident, right? So you had, the tail of both sides of
absolutely.
Mac Jones was spectacular in college because of the guys around him, terrible in the pros. And then you have Burrow, spectacular in college, not because of the guys around him, but you could have said that at the time, and then does well in the pros. So I agree with you though.
Okay, so I'm going to go Fuaga here. He falls in this one, and this is purely based on my opinion of who the Jets draft is why Fuaga falls here. But Fuaga, I think, is going to be a really good right tackle in the NFL. Bengals did just sign Trent Brown to a 1-year, like $4 million deal to be their starting right tackle. So there's not a bunch of pressure on Fuaga. But as a long-term option, I think he could be a very good player.
No, I like that a lot. I think Fuaga could play. He's a plug-and-play offensive lineman, not right tackle. He could play right tackle, play left tackle.
He's very athletic.
Could probably slide into guard if you needed him to. Somebody that, as a rookie, you're just looking for them to learn the first year. It's a great fit there.
Yep.
And maybe an even better fit, I think, is Byron Murphy to the Rams here. This is a situation. Obviously, Aaron Donald comes out and retires. I'm not trying to say Byron Murphy is going to be Aaron Donald, but this is as close as you can find to him in this draft, right? You're looking at a guy that has, a little bit of some shorter arms, but has a pass rush win rate that's extremely high. He's really good in the run game, and in the pass game, he is going to get after the quarterback. He's like a guy that can play nose tackle and put up 15 sacks in a season. There's not many guys that can do that, and you're getting a guy here with Byron Murphy. I think the Rams love this pick here.
Oh, I love that pick for the Rams. I know we had talked about it before we knew Aaron Donald was retiring.
Right.
To pair with Aaron Donald. But now that we know that Aaron Donald's gone, this makes even more sense.
Right. And we kind of talked about it. Like, we know Aaron Donald's on his way out here soon. If you can get him to learn under Aaron Donald for a year or two, that'd be great. Now you just need him to try his best to fill the size 30 shoes that Aaron Donald wore for that defense.
Yeah. $30 million shoes.
Yeah.
So Jackson Powers Johnson is who I'm going to go with here.
Okay.
The more I look at the Steelers' interior O-line, the more that they need help. I think that JPJ is going to be a very solid player.
Yeah. I like the pick. I do. I'm a little bit torn here on my pick at 21, but I love JPJ to the Steelers there. There's somebody that I really like here at 21, and I think he would be a decent fit for the Cardinals. I think he would be a better fit with the Cowboys, and I think the Cowboys would really, really like him. So I'm going to trade down with the Cowboys. For the third time this video, the Cardinals are going to trade down. I don't know what it would take here. It's only 3 picks, and it's later, mid to later first round. So maybe it's a 24 and a third to move up 3 picks, right? Or it's 24 and a third. I don't know. We're going to force it through here. Cowboys are and they're going to pick Graham Barton, though. And this is a guy that can play offensive tackle. He's probably going to be a center in the league. But he played all 5 positions in college. And the value in that versatility in the offensive line is so crucial. And I think that's for the Cowboys, you go get a center, but you get a guy that can play guard, you get a guy that can play tackle. Any position on the offensive line, you have somebody go down with injury, which happens all the time at the offensive line position. Graham Barton's going to be a great player in the NFL. His versatility is what really makes him as high of a prospect, in my opinion. But I think also if you just mark him as a center, I know PFF has him as a tackle. He's going to play center. But if you just have him as a center, I still love him to the Cowboys here at 21.
Yep, I love that. Okay, so this is interesting because basically there's only been 1 corner taken so far.
Yeah.
And I think this could be the run where corners go, maybe in the 20s here. I'm going to go Cooper DeJean here. They need help everywhere in the secondary, and he just gives them that versatility. So I really like that pick.
No, I really like that too. I think you could go Terry Arnold. You could go, obviously Kool-Aid McKinstry. Wiggins is going to be up there. It kind of just depends on what you value, right? But Wiggins or DeJean is somebody that I could see going to the Seahawks as well, just because of his versatility, his ability to play safety if need be. But I think the versatility from Graham Barton I was just talking about, DeJean's kind of the same way on the defense, that Swiss Army knife. He doesn't have to be a safety. Just because he's a white dude and can't play corner. He can play corner. He's freakishly athletic and will play corner at some point, and he's going to be a stud. Now we have back-to-back picks here with the Cardinals. So if my goal wasn't typically to pick who you were going to pick, now it definitely is. And I'm kind of torn. There's some good options available. Obviously, they have not picked yet, right? In the way this has gone, they've stacked up on some draft picks. There's a couple different ways I could go. I'm thinking maybe Johnny Jerzon Newton there. Terry Arnold is not a bad shout, but we've had some people fall here, and I'm going to go with somebody that's fallen really, really far, and it's Jared Verse. And I think that this is just a value pick. This is just a BPA pick, right? Best player available. Verse, we've had him going top 9. We've had him falling out of the top 20 now. This is a situation where you don't need an edge rusher that badly, right? You have it's not a huge need, but it's also, are you going to pass up on Jared Verse here? And I don't think the answer is yes to that.
Yeah, he's fallen very far in this draft. I don't know if he will fall just because of the edge. And it's the most top 3 important position in the NFL today. Well, probably 4: quarterback, tackle, wide receiver, edge rusher. I would probably say are the 4 because those are the 4 highest paid players. I would. Okay, so here I'm just going to go back to back. I'm going to go Terry and Arnold here.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, I love this for the Cardinals. If they could do this, if they could keep trading back and then also get Jared Verse and Terry and Arnold at 23 and 24, that's a heck of a draft.
No, it is. And somebody that again has fallen. I mean, we had a couple guys that we typically don't have this high, right? Like, I mean, the two quarterbacks we typically don't have that high. Latu slides in there, Thomas slides in there, and we have Barton slide in there, right? And those guys typically we haven't had going that high, and that means that somebody has been able to fall to the Packers that I don't want as a Lions fan. I don't want to have to play against Amarius Mims twice a year, as a Lions fan, I don't want to play against Mims with the Packers. But Mims, I mean, if he falls to 25, if the Packers don't want him, somebody else might, and they were going to be trading up. This dude's an athletic freak, and I don't think the term raw is correct with him. He played great. He didn't show like signs of being raw. He just only started 8 games in college. Like it's just the inexperience is not being raw. Yep. I like Mims a ton. If he's still available at 25, I think the Packers are running this card up there, though.
Love it. I love the upside there. All right, call me boring, call me not boring. If you've watched our former mock drafts, it is what it is. I love Chop Robinson. Give me some Chop Robinson here at 26. He's going to be a first-round pick. If there are any prop bets out there, look for him to go in the first. His combine was just too ridiculous for him not to. So, and if you watch, if you watch him in that Michigan game when Michigan ran the ball, 40 times in a row. I heard Joe Klatt talking about this. They literally started running the ball because Chop Robinson was so good in that game.
Yes.
They literally couldn't block him. So they had to run the ball.
I mean, he was solely responsible for an interception in that game. Right?
I mean, Chop Robinson, I think he was getting a little too much hate before the combine. And then now after the combine, people are like, oh, I mean, he's an athletic freak and he had good tape. So I think he'll go higher than we think.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Chop Robinson is somebody that, I know we had Jared Verse falling. If Jared Verse doesn't fall and we have, Turner and Verse off the board, you have a situation where a team really wants a defensive end and they're not high on Latu as a resident, we could see Chop Robinson fly up somebody's board. I mean, into the teens, I think.
Yeah, I almost picked him at 22 because the Eagles love to take edge rushers that are athletic. So I almost took him there. But.
I think we could see him fly up into even like that 15 to 19 range. I wouldn't be surprised.
Kind of like Will McDonald did last year.
Yep, at Iowa State. Yeah. Okay, over to me here at the Cardinals. This is their third pick in 5 picks here. We went edge, we went corner. I'm going to go wide receiver now. So this is obviously a need that they have. I'm going to go Adonai Mitchell. He's an athletic freak. I was debating between him and Keon Coleman. I think they're both very similar. I mean, Mitchell's 6'3", 6'4", really, really quick, and is going to be a great deep ball receiver. I think that helps out Kyler Murray. You went 2 defensive picks here. Obviously, you're in a situation at the beginning of the draft to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. You don't. I think you have to get a receiver at some point, and Adonai Mitchell is a perfect fit here.
I love that.
If you tell me you could trade out of pick 4, you basically give up pick 4 and then you're going to result in a first-round pick, draft class of Jared Verse, Terry Arnold, and Adonai Mitchell. I'm thrilled if I'm the Cardinals.
If you're telling me I get those 3 or Marvin Harrison, I would take those 3.
Yes, I would agree. Now, realistically, they would have this pick either way. This 27 either way.
Correct. No, you're absolutely correct.
But yes,
you also would get probably 2 other firsts.
Yes,
So you would have another first next year, and potentially another one if you trade back from, the Vikings or the whoever trades you, trades up for you. Right. Okay, so here I'm going to take Johnny Jarzon Newton. I think that's a good pick. They just need good players. They just cut a lot of people. I know that's a general term, but a lot of people just got cut from them, and they don't have, as much depth as they probably should to be a Super Bowl contender. So I think they start off with just taking most likely the most solid player on the board. Even if his upside isn't as high as other people, I think that he is still going to be a good NFL player.
No, I agree. I think this is kind of his range here is that 20. PFF loves him for some reason, but I think his range is this 22 to 30 range. We see him fall out of that. I think that's probably something he messed up with some interviews, or just teams you don't think he's near as good as we do. But I think that realistically, the 22 to 30 range is where he will be at. Somebody that's a little higher than I don't think we've mentioned much in these mock drafts, but I'm going to go with here is Darius Robinson. He's listed as an edge guy. He can play defensive end. He can play defensive tackle, and he's just going to get in the way. And I think that's the big thing that I think about this Lions defense. You go get DJ Reader, right, which is a huge signing for your defense. You still need that somebody to be opposite of Hutch, right? And I think that you could go. I think if Chop Robinson's available at 29, I think that's a great pick. Given that he's not, I think the other Robinson, Darius Robinson's good. He's huge, and I think that realistically, 6'5", 300 as a defensive end is crazy. So this is a guy that realistically can play any position on defensive line. He's going to get out to the quarterback. He's going to bat passes down, standing at 6'5". I think that Detroit really likes the pick here.
Yes, I love that pick. I love that pick. I think the upside's there for sure. So 30, I'm going to go Nate Wiggins here. He's big. He's long. That's kind of how the Ravens like to have their DBs. So I think that's a good fit there. Fatanu has fallen a lot. I wanted to take him here, but I just can't. I don't think they can pass up the length of Nate Wiggins.
No, I think Wiggins is kind of one of those players too that could end up. And we've talked about that before. If teams value that speed, that length, he could fly off that board high quickly. That Quinyon Mitchell range, I think even.
Absolutely. And this is all what we think. And we kind of been in a vacuum of our own thoughts when we've been doing these mock drafts. But if one team likes Nate Wiggins, if the Colts like Nate Wiggins, they're drafting him at 15.
Right.
That's the best part about these mock drafts is we don't know who's number one on teams' boards. Like Nate Wiggins, somebody could take him at 8. Like the Falcons could take him at 8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the best part. That's why I get so excited about these because, we think that Penix and Bo Nix go 12 and 13. And then you remember that year when it was the Malik Willis year. People thought Malik Willis would go in the first round. Dude, he's a 3rd round pick. And it's just craziness. So you just never know.
Yeah, no, I mean, even like somebody like Peyton Wilson, we haven't mentioned, right? I mean, you have somebody or Tyler Newman, 2 guys that their position just isn't drafted in the first round. We haven't had it drafted, right? We haven't had a safety unless you classify DeGene as a safety, which I really wouldn't. And we haven't had a linebacker, but both of them are pretty clearly the best at their position. Maybe Edgar and Cooper might jump Peyton Wilson, but I think both of them are the best at their position. If we see the Eagles at 22, like, hey, we need a linebacker, we're taking Peyton Wilson. Okay, like that's probably 20 picks earlier than what we might.
Jack Campbell last year.
Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect situation of it. But I'm going to make the easy pick here. The 49ers need somebody, to be off, the other side, off the right side. Obviously, you have Trent Williams on the left side. I'm taking Troy Fatanu.
That's a heck of a pick.
Yeah, it would be annoying if the 49ers were to go add Fatano to this offensive line, but given the way this is dropped, I can't pass on him here.
No, I mean that if they were to fall with Troy Fatano, they would be stoked.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm completely with you there.
Okay, so this is tough for me. I'm looking at I have my board on my phone right now. I'm just looking.
Yeah.
So this is kind of tough here. I think the Chiefs go O-line. I don't think they're going to pay Trey Smith. They're going to need to be careful paying their O-linemen that they've hit on. I think they're going to pay Creed Humphrey.
Yes. Yeah.
So right here, this is tough. Right here, I'm gonna go Tyler Guyton here.
Okay.
I just think they're going to take the best offensive lineman available there.
Yeah, no, I think Guyton wouldn't. He's definitely a little bit more of a project, right? And we've talked about that, but he's also. I mean, the Chiefs are teams that have a team that has consistently hit on guys that maybe you wouldn't expect late in the first round, like even like Will McDonald last year, right? Like not a guy we expected and had a good season. So Will McDonald he was with the Chiefs, right?
No, you're thinking. Wait, Will McDonald last year?
Yeah,
No, he was on the Jets.
he was on the Jets. Who am I thinking of then? Oh, I know the Chiefs went with somebody
You're
last year.
talking the Kansas State guy.
Yes,
His first
yes.
name's Felix.
Yes, yeah, the Felix. But even I thought he had a decent. It's like a Felix Owusade or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but no, realistically, I think that's a good pick. Two tackles going last two picks. Those guys both could be in the 20s and would not shock me at all. But this is another mock draft from Alec and I here. But any closing comments here?
No, like how we switched it up a little bit with QBs going a little
Mhm.
higher. Like the trades that we did.
Yeah.
And it's going to be exciting to see the first 4 picks, see if Minnesota can become a player in the top 5. Maybe the Patriots trade back, maybe they don't. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is we've had the Patriots trading, or the Vikings trading up the last 2. It's going to be interesting where they trade up to, right? Do they trade up to 4, or do they say we want 3, or we want 2? We
Or
want to
say the
make sure we get
Broncos
our
trade
guy.
up instead, or
Yeah.
the Raiders trade up instead, or the Saints
Mhm.
trade up instead. We don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, everything's kind of trending towards the Vikings doing it, but there's just as much of a chance that somebody else could hop in.
Yeah,
there too.
after being really into the NFL for probably the last 6 years, there's something that I've learned is that if there's smoke, yeah, it might happen, but there's always somebody in the background just
Yes.
lurking to make a deal behind somebody's back.
Mhm.
And it kind of seems like the Vikings, it just makes too much sense. Like some things make too much sense where you're like, oh, okay, then it's not going to happen because it just makes too
Yeah.
much sense in my head. So you never know. That's why we love the NFL. That's why we love the draft.
Right. I mean, it'd be crazy if the Vikings traded up to acquired pick 23, because they want 2 first-round picks this year, and they want to take Bo Nix at 11 and as their quarterback, and then go get another piece at 23. So it is going to be fun. We are officially less than a month away from the NFL draft, and we will continue with the weekly Wednesday mock drafts here on YouTube. But other than that, this has been the Sports Geeks podcast. They play, we talk. Thanks for watching, guys.